Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Natalia de Antonio, and I am SAM's Assistant Curator of South Asian Art. It is my pleasure to present this overview of Embodied Change, South Asian Art Across Time. My first curatorial project for SAM. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that the Seattle Art Museum is located on the homelands of the Duwamish people and the traditional territories, of the Suquamish and Muckleshoot people. We further acknowledge the many urban indigenous people who call Seattle home. We'd like to thank our major sponsors for this exhibition: the Blake Moore Foundation, the E. Rhodes and Leona B. Carpenter Foundation, the Mimi Gardner Gates Asian Art Endowment, and Dipti and Rakesh Mathur, with additional support from contributors to the SAM Fund. In addition, I'd like to thank our members for their continued support, which makes exhibitions like Embodied Change possible. I would also like to make sure to mention that there has been some changes to the opening events for Embodied Change. The member preview on Thursday, January 13th will continue as scheduled. But if you are a premier level member or above that was planning on attending one of the evening events, we will no longer be offering food and drink during those events. So to begin, spanning the period from the 3rd millennium BCE to today, the works in this exhibition offer metaphoric and compelling images of the human body. Most of the artists in this exhibition utilize female and feminine forms in a myriad of ways, including as a devotional object, as a mode of self-representation, and to question the safety of public spaces. Devi, who you can see throughout the slide, and all these objects I will discuss during this presentation, is the great goddess who holds immeasurable sacredness and strength. She is a typical and potent subject within the canon of South Asian art. In modern and contemporary art, South Asian identified artists have reacted against traditional norms and challenged gender, national, and social stereotypes. Some have reoriented the exemplary and fierce model of the Devi goddess. Others have attended to new subjects, including everyday townspeople, such as fisherwomen and local schoolgirls, to be the protagonists of their work. So let's get into specifics here. So here's the first artist in the show. She opens the exhibition. Her name is Chitra Ganesh. So throughout her childhood in Queens, New York, Ganesh read Indian comics that explicated the complex narratives of Hinduism. In her practice, Ganesh repositions these comics by using fragments from this popular visual form. And in the slide, you can see on the upper right-hand corner, one of her drawings that reorients Indian comics. And on the bottom is one of her first videos titled Rabbit Hole that looks at this concept of time, goddesses, and regeneration, a theme that she'll come back to in this piece at SAM. She's had long-standing collaborations with many museums, including the Brooklyn Museum, where she painted a monumental mural of Kali, the Hindu goddess of destruction and rebirth, who is in the very middle of the mural. She collaborated with the Rubin Museum, where she continued her investigation of Indian mythology, imagery, and narrative by positioning her contemporary videos next to Rubin's historical permanent collection, which you can see in this slide. She has wonderfully agreed to collaborate with Sam in the debut of her newest animation video called Before the War, which was completed this year in 2022. So this is our most contemporary piece in the exhibition. Before the War examines the themes of goddesses, temporality, possible futures, and loss amidst the political backdrop of war and protest. It also draws from her earlier visual base, as you may have noticed, that the opening image of her video is the same one of a goddess imagery that she used at the Brooklyn Museum. Her animation is combined with music and lyrics by the hip-hop singer and poet Saul Williams. In Before the War, bodily fragments proliferate, including those of the goddess Kali, with her protruding tongue, which is seen in this slide. So if you can see my pointer, that is Kali here on the very far right. Oh, and Shasti, the goddess who protects children, which you can see on the very bottom on the far left, with her head a tree, and she rides a cat-like animal. With the title of her video, Chitra asks multiple questions. Was there a time before war? Will there be a time when there is no war? Providing no easy answers, Ganesh uses the goddess Kali both as a symbol of liberation and destruction, and as the feminine form of Kali, of Kala, translatable as time. So Ganesh here is using that kind of Kali, Kala linguistic synonyms there. She proposes that there are other ways of being in the world exist, being with time, that are non-normative modes that overflow with spirituality. Ganesh opens this exhibition. She also has curated the first gallery. She decided to place these little sculptures from the Indus Valley civilization near her video to draw connections between her digital practice and what is commonly considered the earliest forms of South Asian visual culture. So the Indus Valley civilization, for those who are unfamiliar, is concurrent with Mesopotamia, so a very ancient civilization. So her video presents a future of regenerating bodies that float in outer space, while these Indus Valley sculptures appear quite static. For Ganesh, however, both these historical and futuristic objects offer a way to challenge everyday norms of conceiving and perceiving of bodies. For instance, in her video, we see this little Indus Valley statue roller skating across the plain, and that's this slide right here. The dancing girl is an acclaimed and famous sculpture from the Indus Valley, and it's quite well known within South Asia, and there's only one sculpture, and it's currently in India. Because of this, Ganesh decides to draw from Sam's permanent collection of other Indus Valley sculptures. So archaeological digs in the area have revealed small female terracotta figures, usually sculpted with wide hips, small breasts, stocky appendages, and abundant jewelry. Early scholars deified these figures as mother goddesses, or a manifestation of Devi, creating a tie between past religious beliefs and present-day Hindu practitioners. Whether these are mother goddesses is still being debated within scholarship. And as we move into the next gallery in Embodied Change, many of these artists are within this theme of making space. So once bodies, especially feminized forms, enter the urban and city spaces, they experience increased number of public interactions. The artists in this gallery contend with the issue of being publicly seen and interpreted through a variety of mediums and techniques. All of these artists move through the public arena, attempting to make space for themselves and their communities by examining the complex links between cities, spaces, and minoritized bodies. One such artist is Bonnie Abidi, and her video that was shown, Death at a 30-Degree Angle, which depicts the commissioning of a monumental statue by a small-time politician. Located in present-day India, the film is shot within the studio of a sculptor who is renowned for making large statues of politicians and national and religious figures. Against a sea of male deities, there's a passing glance of Mother Teresa, who is considered by some to be a manifestation of the goddess Durga. Surrounded by these holy statues, the politicians, along with his cronies, experiment with a variety of poses, actively participating in his own myth-making and sanctification. Abidi is asking who visualizes history, which bodies are remembered, who is memorialized. Bonnie curated the video space to suggest a room in which the viewer inhabits a future in which everyday people live in destitution alongside large monuments erected by politicians who want to be gods. It has strong visual ties to Chitra Ganesh's video, which opens the exhibition. Both artists created their videos at different moments, 2012 for Bonnie and 2022 for Chitra. But the question of monuments, statues, and gods is debated within both videos and within our own public discourse. The next artist is Shaila Kumari Burman, who was born into a Punjabi family home in Liverpool. Growing up, she has remarked that she was surrounded by Hindu goddess calendars that were placed alongside posters of Bollywood stars. Her work continues to play with these themes of pop culture and also marked by a continual theme of subversion and a strategy of self-fashioning. Her work has coalesced to a high point within her career, which was recently commissioned by the Tate Britain to redesign their facade. She superimposed Bollywood posters of fluorescent Hindu deities. Entitled Remembering a Brave New World, the installation opened near Diwali, the 5-day South Asian festival which celebrates the triumph of light over darkness. Burman has stated, "So I just thought, why not do something that captures what we're all going through right now? I felt like we all needed a blast of joy and light, and Diwali is about good over evil, about hope, unity, and light at the end of the tunnel." For over 30 years, Burman has used a variety of mixed media to advocate for female empowerment, racial equity, and her Punjabi heritage, continuously mining the image of Kali in both her lyrics and visual pieces. Kali, I'm a Mess, the neon sculpture that you see before you, was a small part of Burman's recent installation at the Tate Britain. Perched atop the building, the Hindu goddess of destruction and protection obfuscated the statue of Britannia. The text above Kali reads, "I'm a mess," a message usually not associated with Kali. Burman takes Kali seriously as a symbol of liberation and rebellion, and uses this text to speak to political and social concerns that occurred in 2020. The name again of Kali is the feminine form of kala, translatable as time. Thus, permanence as seen as can kali drive forward time, so we're that in a brave new world when we are no longer a mess. This piece was acquired by SAM and thanks to the Richard E. Lang and J. Lang Davis Acquisition Fund for Global and Contemporary Art, with additional funds from the Carpenters Foundation. Another artist within Making Space is Adila Suleiman. This helmet is made from kitchen utensils, including a colander and a tiffin, which is a lunchbox, and is a part of her series Repurposing Kitchen Objects. The form is gendered as it uses objects typically located in the interior space of the kitchen, often associated with female domesticity. In her performance photographs, which you can see on the left, Suleiman dons these helmets, suggesting that women need special armor in their day-to-day movements in the public arena. The rigid and hard helmets provide little real protection, because we can all think, how much protection can a lunchbox afford you? One wonders then, what is Suleiman's goal here with her piece? She seems to gesture to the futility of even having any protection. The next artist in this gallery of Making Space, the sub-theme within Embodied Change, is Naiza Khan. Naiza Khan drew silhouettes of whole and fractured female figures in her early practice, and she painted it directly with henna paste by using the mechanically produced hand-shaped patterns that are available in the bazaars. And that's what you see before you. On the far left, you see some text, but on the when I alert you to the image on the right here, up close, and you can see the henna hands making up the body. By choosing sites as public walls across Karachi, near the railway station and street vendors, Naiza attempted to reclaim public space for women and open the city itself for direct artistic and visual intervention. In two works recently gifted to SAM by Dipti and Rakesh Mathur, Naiza Khan continued to focus on the sites of the female body, specifically on garments crafted to contain the sexuality of women. This photograph is part of a series known as Heavenly Ornaments, in which Naiza fabricated metal lingerie, skirts, and corsets. The metal body coverings, including the armor breastplate seen on the model here and the cage corset, were a reference to a specific social religious Urdu text, which contains advice on morals and behavior for young Muslim women. Rather than act as protection, these metal coverings were a form of confinement. SAM is lucky to have the generosity of many donors and collectors. The rest of the photograph series is a promised gift and will be in Embodied Change, thanks to local collector and SAM affiliate Najma Lalji. Artist Naiza Khan will be the first artist from Pakistan to be in our contemporary and modern collection, and many thanks again to the Mathur and Lalji families. A conversation with me and Naiza will take place on March 9th in our Conversation with Curators series, if you're interested in hearing from the artist directly. Lastly, in this sub-theme is the artist Humera. Made entirely out of wood, this open suitcase contains clothes, a holy book, a cap, and prayer beads, all the possessions of a religious practitioner who is undertaking a spiritual journey. The gun that is placed alongside the belongings symbolizes both religious extremism and violence towards religion, including attacks on mosques, churches, and other religious buildings. In the artist's own words, all societies have extremists who twist religion as well as other social institutions and use it to their own benefit to oppress women, vulnerable, and defenseless people. So I have a slight tickle. So around the 6th century, there's a seminal text of titled "The Glory of the Goddess," which was written at this time. Sorry, so that brings together sources on the Devi or Mother Goddess mythology. So this is an important watershed moment in the 6th century. And this text is devoted to the goddess Durga. So at that moment is when Devi is folded in to the canon of the Hindu pantheon, versus the earlier moment in the Indus Valley when we had just those sculptures and we weren't sure if they were goddesses. And so this section of the exhibition focuses on historical objects. In particular, historical painting from India that is composed on Wesley or hand-made paper. And it's made from natural pigments. And therefore, in this section of the exhibition, we're asking for no photography. This is quite an astounding piece, and it is of Rama and Sita, who are enveloped with lotus petals as they sit on lotus thrones. The representation of flower adornment is extremely rare in Indian painting. Typically, Rama and Sita are depicted in the leaf-trimmed garments. The lotus flower is a symbol signifying purity and fertility because the flower emerges from sullied waters. The sheer abundance of lotuses celebrates the sensorial pleasures of this world. Worshippers do not beseech the female deity Sita for favors, but admire her for her strength and devotion in the face of all-consuming love. And this is such a rare, beautiful painting, and we're so lucky to have this really rare piece in the exhibition. The next image is also a very rare piece, and it's a double-sided painting, and both sides display Devi's power in the midst of battle. On this side, you can see Kali unfurl her tongue as she saves the world from chaos. Durga has summoned Kali to destroy a demon whose name means blood seed. As the demon is able to regenerate himself when a drop of his blood touches the ground, Kali here swallows the blood-born demon spawns and sucks the blood of the original demon. Kali's mouth and tongue are a fierce weapon, displaying the cosmic power of nature to subsume us all. It's a very powerful piece. The next image within this historical section, and there's a number of other paintings I can't discuss with all of you, and I hope you come in person to see them all, is another very rare painting. So here you see through the verdant green landscape and magical pastel colored rocks, this composition represents Devi's creative energy. Another term for this eminent form of Devi is Shakti, a feminine principle that is cosmological. Devi or Shakti is represented as disembodied and formless, eminent in the teeming natural landscape. Devi Shakti is everywhere, in the trees, the elephants, and the antelope. She is also symbolically represented by her vahanas or mounts, a tiger and a snow white lion in the upper corners of the painting. So if you can see my pointer, it's her mounts. Sorry, her mounts are right here. The historical section is so important, not only of their which I hope you're struck by, but how those themes carry over as well to modern and contemporary artists. And one section of this exhibition focuses on contemporary goddesses. So in the 1990s, scholars posed a question: is the notion of the goddess feminist? While such a sweeping question proved unanswerable, this section of the exhibition advances the question through the lens of contemporary art. From manila drawings to photography, contemporary female artists reposition and rethink goddess imagery. In this painting, Davy captures, the artist Davy, captures the mesmerizing power of Kali. She captures the mesmerizing power of Kali with a frontal composition. Let me just make sure you can still hear me. And a bright color palette. Absent are Kali's usual suprahuman characteristics, such as her multiple arms and substantial tongue. Instead, she holds power over the viewer through the intensity of her gaze. The viewer cannot look away from Kali's large eyes as Kali smiles at the viewer, content in her potency. And the artist went through a number of hardships throughout her life, including being abandoned by her husband, who is also abusive. So we can draw a line perhaps that the artist turns to Kali to assert her own power in the face of social hardships. And this is the last object that I will discuss really thoroughly with you. Into a different section in the exhibition that focus on portraits. So artists in this section use the theme of portraits to challenge bodily ideals and the role of the female body in the arts. Some return to the goddess and masquerade themselves as goddesses, and others, like Mitu Sen, use their own bodies to assert themselves. They're here. Mitu paints herself with a mustache, along with drawing overgrown floral vines in her hair and a phallic building on the bridge of her nose. Consistently throughout her practice, Mitu applies the confrontational approach to topics related to the body, including sex. This work is part of a series called False Friends, in which Sen asks strangers to take photographs of her. According to Mitu Sen, drawing from her childhood, she was considered, quote, the literal black sheep, end of quote, of her family, since she was more visibly darker skinned than her light-skinned female family members. Here, Sen's face occupies the entire canvas, making space for herself in her social and professional world, and her gaze is both otherworldly and visible. So to conclude, this exhibition showcases the work of 16 modern and contemporary South Asian artists alongside a number of historical artists. They were selected for how they attend to the body as an emotional and physical repository, especially those who use the vehicle of the goddess. While many of the artists have an international platform, others are more locally attuned to the Seattle community, such as Humera, a practicing artist living in Seattle. Many past exhibitions on South Asian art across the United States tend to bifurcate artists according to their nationality or to separate South Asian contemporary artists from the subcontinent from those in the diaspora. In a new approach, this exhibition will showcase artists from South Asia and from the South Asian diaspora, from those who reside in Seattle, New York, London, and Canada, and whose families originate from Africa, India, and Pakistan. The body is comprised of its physical frame, but it's also mutable. Disembodiment and transcendence can be found in both the historical works and in the contemporary videos within this exhibition. Each of the artists in this exhibition invests the human body with the power to question social, political, and normative realities. By doing so, they invite you to explore the complexities of the human body, to contemplate and to question which bodies are conferred with greater degrees of humanity, and perhaps to imagine with them different ways to inhabit a body. I would like to thank you all for joining us, and I hope you all enjoyed the show and come see us very soon. I'd just like to take this time to again thank our major sponsors and the major lenders for this show, which include Sanjay Sarati and Melina Balakrishna, Christopher and Alina Lantham, Najma Lalji, and Private Collector. Thank you again.